What if I told you that the Straw Hat Pirates, despite having some of the most powerful individuals in the entire series, might not even crack the top 3 when it comes to the strongest crews in One Piece? That single question has been debated for years across forums, comment sections, and Discord servers. Today, we are settling it. We are ranking the top 10 strongest crews in One Piece history, and some of these picks are going to challenge everything you thought you knew. Welcome to One Piece Uncovered. Before we get into the list, we need to establish what makes a crew strong. It is not just about having one overpowered captain. A truly strong crew is measured by its overall combat depth, the strength of its top fighters, its numbers, its resources, and how it performs under pressure. A crew where only the captain is powerful is not a strong crew. That is just a strong person with followers. With that in mind, let us get into it. Starting at number 10, we have the Big Mom Pirates. Now, before you come for me in the comments, hear me out. Post-Wano, Big Mom herself was defeated and her crew scattered. The crew was always heavily dependent on her overwhelming personal strength. Her commanders, the 3 sweet generals, are individually powerful, but without Big Mom leading and holding everything together, this crew loses a massive amount of its threat level. That drops them to number 10, but they still absolutely belong on this list. Number 9 goes to the Heart Pirates. Trafalgar Law and his crew are criminally underrated when viewed as a unit. Law is a former warlord, an awakened devil fruit user, and a confirmed Conqueror's Haki awakened character, as shown in Wano. His crew members are highly trained and coordinated. They are not the biggest crew, but they punch way above their weight class. Efficiency matters. Coming in at number 8, we have the Kid Pirates. Eustace Kid is one of the few characters who matched Luffy in ambition and raw destructive power during the early parts of the story. His first mate Killer is no joke either. The crew has a reputation for violence and reckless power that very few crews in the New World want to deal with. Their downfall in the rankings comes from a lack of overall depth beyond their top 2 fighters. Number 7 is the Blackbeard Pirates. And yes, I know many of you expected them higher, and we will get back to them. Right now in the story, Blackbeard has assembled a crew of former warlords and powerful individuals, each carrying their own devil fruit abilities. The crew is dangerous, unpredictable, and growing fast. The reason they sit at 7 for now is because their true ceiling has not been fully revealed yet. When the final war begins, they could rise significantly. Stay with me here because the top 6 is where things get really interesting. We are about to talk about a crew that most casual fans completely overlook, and a crew that Oda has been hiding in plain sight since the very beginning of the story. Do not go anywhere. Number 6 belongs to the Revolutionary Army. This one surprises people because the Revolutionary Army is not technically a pirate crew, but in terms of organized fighting power, they are one of the most dangerous forces in the world. Monkey D. Dragon is almost certainly one of the strongest characters alive, and his commanders, people like Sabo, Bello Betty, Morley, and Lindbergh, have demonstrated serious Haki and devil fruit capabilities. The Revolutionary Army has been operating in the shadows for years, and Oda has made it very clear that when they finally step into the main conflict, the world is going to feel it. Number 5 is the Roger Pirates. This crew sailed to the end of the world. They reached Laugh-Tale and discovered the truth of the Void Century. Roger himself possessed the voice of all things, advanced Conqueror's Haki, and no devil fruit, making his raw physical and Haki mastery essentially unmatched in his era. His first mate Silver's Rayleigh is still considered a legend decades later, and other members like Scopper Gaben have barely been touched on yet. The Roger Pirates were the peak of their generation, and even with them being disbanded, their legacy shapes every major event in the current story. Number 4 goes to the Straw Hat Pirates. At the point we are at in the manga, this crew has reached a level that almost no one saw coming when it started. Luffy is a Gear 5th user and a confirmed Joy Boy figure. Zoro is chasing the title of world's greatest swordsman and awakened his Conqueror's Haki. Sanji unlocked his genetic enhancements and Ifrit Jambe. Jinbe is a master of fishman karate and a former warlord. Robin, Frankie, Brooke, Usopp, Nami, and Chopper all have unique, irreplaceable combat roles. What makes the Straw Hats special is that nearly every crew member has a moment where they can carry the fight. That kind of depth is rare. This is the part of the video I know people are going to debate hard in the comments. Number 3 is the Beast Pirates under Kaido. Yes, Kaido lost. Yes, Wano is over. But let us be honest about what this crew was at its peak. Kaido is still widely considered the strongest creature alive. His all-stars, King, Queen, and Jack, are each powerful enough to be a final boss in almost any other arc. Below them, the Toby Rappo were commanders that most pirate crews would have no answer for. The sheer volume of powerful fighters in this crew is staggering. They held an entire nation of warriors under their boot for 20 years. That does not happen with a weak crew. Number 2 is a crew that Oda has been building toward since Water 7. The crew that earns this spot is the Whitebeard Pirates at their peak. Before Marineford. Before the betrayal. Whitebeard was called the strongest man in the world for a reason. His commanders were the toughest generation of pirates the world had seen. Marco the Phoenix, Jozu, Vista, and over a dozen other division commanders, all capable of holding their own against vice admirals and admirals. The fact that even a crippled, dying Whitebeard nearly brought the world government to its knees. And Marineford tells you everything you need to know about where this crew stands in the history of the series. Number 1 is a choice that I think Oda has been foreshadowing since the story began. The future Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Not the current Straw Hat crew alone, but the full alliance that has now sworn loyalty to Luffy. 7 powerful crews, led by figures like Bartolomeo, Cavendish, Hadrudin, and others, all flying under the Straw Hat flag. Oda specifically wrote a chapter showing each of these leaders telling the story of how they fought under Luffy, implying this fleet will one day reunite and shake the world. When you combine the core Straw Hat crew with the raw numbers and individual power levels across all 7 allied fleets, this becomes the most formidable pirate force assembled since the God Valley incident. Here is the theory that ties all of this together. Oda has repeatedly drawn parallels between the final war and the God Valley incident, where the Roger Pirates and the Navy teamed up to defeat the Rocks Pirates. The Rocks Pirates were essentially the strongest collection of individual powerhouses ever assembled, but they fell apart because they had no unity. Contrast that with the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, which is built entirely on loyalty, respect, and genuine belief in their captain. Oda is telling us that in the final war, raw power alone will not be enough. The crew that wins will be the one with the deepest bonds and the broadest reach. That is the Straw Hats, and that is why they sit at the top when you look at the full picture. That is the list. 10 crews, ranked by what the manga has actually shown us, with an eye on where the story is clearly heading. If you disagree with any of these placements, I genuinely want to hear it. Drop your own top 3 in the comments below and tell me where you think I got it wrong. If you're new here, subscribe to One Piece Uncovered for weekly deep dives just like this one. And before you leave, here is the question I want you to think about. If the final war began today, which single crew do you think would survive it completely intact, and why?